When you watch Fortnite streamers, you'll see that sometimes they use a camera that shows the position of their keyboard. And many pro players and streamers like to angle their keyboard instead of having it completely straight or horizontal. Hi, I'm Cram, and in this video, I'm going to explain why Fortnite players angle their keyboards and the benefits you get from it. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel so when I release a new video, you get notified. Now, the main reason players angle their keyboard is to create more desk space. You see, many streamers are pro or former pro players that compete or have competed at LAN tournaments. And at a LAN tournament, desk space is usually very limited because players need to be seated close to one another so there's enough space for everyone at the event. When you angle your keyboard, it creates more room between your keyboard and mouse. This is particularly useful if you use a low sensitivity, because when you use a low sensitivity, you need to move your mouse further. And many pro players use a low sensitivity because it allows for greater precision. So, angling your keyboard means you won't smash your mouse into your keyboard when you need to make a flick shot, for example. And here's a clip from Tfue explaining why he has his keyboard in the position he uses.
Why not the keyboard sideways? Because a horizontal keyboard takes up too much space on small LAN desks. That's my main reason, dude. Do you run out of mouse space on LAN games? Yes, I do. So like I like this. And I have this much room. Like this, dude. It's just like...
Smaller 10-keyless keyboards have also gotten more popular because they allow for more space. And if you use a standard full-size keyboard, then you may need to angle your keyboard to have sufficient space when you play Fortnite. So, creating more space is the first reason for angling your keyboard. But there is another potentially more useful reason for angling your keyboard in Fortnite, and it has to do with your thumb position. Let me explain. When your keyboard is in a horizontal position, you are really only able to hit your spacebar with your thumb. Therefore, with a horizontal keyboard position, your thumb is really only good for one key, and that's jumping. But in Fortnite, you have so many keybinds to assign because you need to build and switch between weapons and crouch and so on, and when you angle your keyboard, even slightly, you change the position of where your thumb will naturally rest on your keyboard. So, you can use your thumb to hit more keys when you angle your keyboard. And the more of an angle you use, the more keys you can press using your thumb. You see, it's entirely possible to use your thumb to hit keys like V, B, N, M, G, H, and Y. Think about how useful that could be for you and how many keybind opportunities that could open up. And here's a clip from Liquid Poach explaining why he uses an angled keyboard as well.
I started playing my keyboard like this because it's a habit I developed playing Counter-Strike, because in Counter-Strike you play with a low sensitivity normally on a big mouse pad. So if you play like this in Counter-Strike and you flick your mouse a lot, you'd hit your keyboard, and it was super annoying. So then I eventually started tilting it a bit here and there. I played like this for a while, then I probably tilted it more, I played like this, and now I'm pretty much vertical at this point because I don't have, I have plenty of mouse pad room. I can't hit my keyboard. And also, when you're playing with a horizontal keyboard, your thumb can really only hit space and then maybe a few, but you have to like move your entire wrist, which actually hurts. So when you play vertical, your thumb is like resting on top, so I can be hitting all these keys. I hit Y for auto run, H is my map. I can press other keys like G2 to my repair. Like basically I'm maximizing what all my fingers can hit, which you can't do with a horizontal keyboard. So that's why I play like that.
Now that we've covered desk space and thumb position, I want to talk about ergonomics. Look, when you play Fortnite with a mouse and keyboard, you want your shoulders to be in a natural position so that you're in alignment. And you want a roughly 90-degree angle between your elbows and forearm. Also, you want your wrists to be in a natural position. In other words, your wrists should be square, with no unusual or awkward bends. But when you angle your keyboard, it can force your elbows out and away from your body, and you may need to change the position of your wrists to access the keys on your keyboard. In other words, angling your keyboard could put you into a poor ergonomic position. This is not something to take lightly either, because a poor ergonomic position could lead to repetitive strain injury, wrist tendonitis, tennis elbow, and neck and shoulder pain. You see, good ergonomics are important, especially if you're someone that spends many hours a day at your desk playing video games or at work. With that being said though, when you angle your keyboard, it could bring your keyboard more inward and closer to your body, so your hands are in better alignment with your shoulders, because you don't necessarily have to far out your elbows. But your wrists may still need to be in an awkward position. Here's something I saw recently on Twitter that really shows the importance of your keyboard position. Young Calculator is a 14-year-old Fortnite pro player and posted this image asking if it's bad for his wrist. The answer is yes. Just look at his wrist position and you can see the unnatural bend that it has. Young Calculator is also angling his keyboard in the opposite direction from what most players use. This position has led to causing him pain in his wrist, and he now has to ice his wrist and wear a sling, and it appears that this isn't a common problem among pro gamers either. Can you imagine being a 14-year-old pro gamer and your career potentially being over because of an injury? And if you want to learn more about keyboard ergonomics, I'll leave a great post from Dr. Levi Harrison, which goes into detail about the proper keyboard placement when gaming, and that'll be in the description of this video. So how much should you angle your keyboard? Before you go ahead and tilt your keyboard 90 degrees so it's vertical like Tfue, you need to consider the risks such as a poor ergonomic position and the risk of an injury. You may only need to angle your keyboard a small amount to get the benefits of more space and a better thumb position. So, begin by angling your keyboard very slightly, say 20 or 30 degrees, and see how that feels. And then continue to adjust as required until you find your ideal angle. Pay attention to the position you're putting your wrists and elbows in and ensure you aren't getting into an ergonomically poor position. So, to conclude, angling your keyboard helps to create more space between your mouse and keyboard so that you have more freedom to move your mouse without the worry of smashing into your keyboard if you use a low sensitivity. And angling your keyboard gives your thumb access to more keys. This is useful in Fortnite because of the number of keybinds you need to assign. But angling your keyboard can be risky because of your elbow position and the stress it could put on your wrists. So, begin with a slight angle and gradually adjust until you find the ideal position for you. Anyway, that concludes this video. Question for you. Do you angle your keyboard? Let me know in the comments and by how much you angle it by, because I'm genuinely interested. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe and turn on post notifications because it really helps my channel grow. Thank you for watching and have an amazing day. Peace.